Good morning. I'm here to deliver a presentation on autistic resonance with nature. My name is Sidrati Ali. I'm a passionate advocate of environmental and social justice, having done quite a few work with various conservation groups, including Trees for Life. Recently, I was involved in the Nature Aware project that was funded by the Scottish Government Climate Engagement Fund and run by Swan Scotland. So as part of that, the Nature Aware project was helping 15 individual autistic people to turn their love of nature into nature positive climate actions and bring their voices into the climate conversation. So as part of that, my project was on nature connection, and you can read a bit more about that in my blog. So one of the takeaways that I have come or realization that I have come to in my years of being an advocate and being in the conservation space, as well as through the project, that I realized that a lot of the autistic community feels that we are part of the larger family of creation, nature. We don't see nature as being other and or separate. That we are we are part of nature, and we feel that nature allows us to be our authentic selves, and we have a kind of communication with nature that incorporates that childlike wonder and innocence in all its in all of our interaction with nature. I've heard of people who could hear. Hearing is not the right word. Who can understand what the trees are saying, being able to be very, very much in communion, in a sense, with the various elements and communities within nature. And some are able to see patterns and systems in nature that allows that intricate link of the ecosystem that is quite alien to the modern world today. And that's what I want to speak to in today's world, because today's world basically, and I think this goes back to how nature is seen as separate, is seen as other, and in fact objectified, is not seen as human. It's dehumanized in essence, which is very different from various indigenous population and the autistic experience, where nature is different. They see other parts of nature, like the birds, the other animals, the mountains, and so on, as having, it's living, and it's having an identity, and having a rights, the fact of that not only human rights but nature rights, right? But because of the capitalistic way that we have incorporated in today's world, nature is seen as something rather than someone, and something can be exploited, can be used and discarded, and so we have seen today the collapse of the ecosystems, the catastrophic change in climate, and it's affecting all that is on Earth, and I can see it right now, looking out my window, where we've not had much rain for the last few months, so it's been a very dry summer. The grass is almost dead. In fact, it's dead pretty much. It's brown, and the ground is hard. The trees are stressed, and shedding a lot of leaves because of that lack of water, and that is due to the climate crisis, which is because of the exploitation of the ecosystem of nature. And similarly, I see that echo in the objectification of, or the othering of minority groups, such as the autistic community or the ethnic minority community, or those who the LGBT community, those who are at the fringe of society, those who you don't, they're not seen as being useful, they're not seen as being able to contribute in this sense to the economy, and so therefore they're seen as a burden, right? And we now have all these talk about the asylum seekers, and how they are taking over the resources, that should be used for British citizens, and that's that capitalistic mindset. So I think as part of a solution, it's that we need to change that mindset, not only at an individual level, but at a societal level, at a governmental level, whereby we need to acknowledge that each and every creation has an inherent purpose and potential, and society are the places and the way to realize those potentials and purpose, and so governments have a duty to help not only nature and the minorities, but overall, that each and every one that is in the land should have a place, should have a purpose, that their purpose can be fulfilled, right? So the way I imagine it is in a flourishing society is that one where nature is integral to our lives, and we actually see that uh, in Edinburgh and in Scotland, we are pretty blessed to have pockets, I would say, pockets of thriving nature, such as shown here, a picture of the Water of Leith and having a thriving ecosystem there. I remember years ago when I was helping the cleaning of the Water of Leith, and that was really hard work because there's a lot of rubbish being dumped into the Water of Leith at the time, and yet now we're seeing a lot more of the animals and plants thriving there, and that also benefits the community as we can through being there derive some healing in terms of or having the allowing ourselves to be healed mentally and also physically in those areas. So one of the key actions that I think we need to take is actually rewilding not only our environment but ourselves, allowing allowing people to break free from that capitalist mindset, and therefore be able to thrive and realize the potential. That's it from me. Thank you very much.